Hello, all, and welcome to Movie Bears Podcast TV. I'm Brad Harris, and each week I'm joined by some super hunky guys, at least in my opinion, to discuss something very near and dear to our hearts, that, of course, being television. As usual, I'm joined by Casey Scott.
Hello. Happy to be here, y'all.
And Stephen Heslin.
Hello, everyone, and may I say, Brad, I really respect your opinion. So, opinion.
This is true. This is true.
You're not biased at all.
No, not at all.
Oh, goodness. Well, we have a big show tonight. We're going to be discussing the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead. A lot happened there, yeah, for sure. And we'll also be catching up with some of the stuff we've been watching lately for a little MeTV. That, of course, in addition to our plugs. Guys, we have a lot to talk about. Are you ready to just dive in?
Let's go for it.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Our discussion of The Walking Dead. All right, so big episode of The Walking Dead last night. We're just going to go ahead and preface this to say, we will be spoiling the plot of this episode. So
it doesn't matter. It already got spoiled by The Walking Dead itself.
Its own network did it.
Oh, well, I'll just say this: unlike AMC, we are giving fair spoiler warning before we actually talk about the episode. So if you have not seen it yet, now is your chance to bail. Come back in a little bit, maybe half an hour or so, and rejoin the discussion. Otherwise, you listen at your own peril. So spoilers are fair game, but let's talk about what happened. So last night, episode aired on the East Coast. Didn't even think about it. And about 30 seconds after it aired on the East Coast, AMC posts a image on their official Walking Dead page. And again, spoilers are fair game. Of Daryl holding up Beth, and the caption is R.I.P. Beth. Now, the episode doesn't air on the East Coast for
West Coast until 9.
Or I'm sorry, on West Coast, till like 3 hours later. Not to mention the whole rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
That's a whole lot of people that have not seen the episode.
Yeah,
it was spoiled.
It was a mistake on their part by all sense of words, because on top of it, once it aired on the West Coast, right after the minute the episode finished airing, they posted it again. But like you said, Brad, like if you're in Hawaii, you haven't seen it yet. If you're in another part of the world, maybe you haven't seen it yet. Maybe you are taping it. Like I read somebody's comment saying, I was going to watch it later on tonight because I was trying to put my kid down. And while I was putting my kid down, I was just checking Facebook, and up pops this thing. And it's like, you got to be kidding me.
Well, somebody's head needs to roll for that, probably. Whoever does their social networking is,
I don't think anyone needs to get fired, but they need to learn a lesson at least of, wait till the next morning,
Right.
It's just,
and they're usually really good about that. This is the first time that I recall this happening with AMC.
I honestly think somebody was just overzealous because they... that graphic was pretty cool. I think they just want to show off their graphic.
I didn't even see it. Was a well done graphic, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it was really well designed and really well laid out, and they maybe had some affinity for the actress, because I saw her on The Talking Dead, and
was she on there?
Yeah, and she was crying her brains out. I mean, she did not want to leave the show, and
because her character finally, stepped up and was amazing, and that's why I was so emotional last night watching it. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my God.
Well, and she's young, so this is probably her biggest, role she's had, and so this is the end of that part. So she was really sad, and I'm sure they were sad to see her go, but it was bad form by all means.
Well, AMC, that's interesting that you say that she was on there, because when in the last 15 minutes, they don't show commercials for Talking Dead until the last 15 minutes of Walking Dead, and then they show who's on the couch. So last week, they showed the actress who played Tasha, and so I was like, okay, something major's going to happen with her the last 15 minutes, and it did. And so I was like, well, they're not showing any of the cast members on the couch, so that was a smart move.
Right.
So I was wondering if she was going to show up, because that's like her last hurrah. I'd be,
Well,
her last chance to do that.
Let's talk about the nature of spoilers, right? I mean, we've kind of talked about this a little bit already, on a previous show, but this in particular, AMC itself spoiled this,
Right.
but also friends were resharing that image, so it's popped up, you know what I mean, all over the place. And so there seems to be sort of two main camps in regards to this situation. And we put the call out for some comments on our Facebook page earlier, and I want to read a couple of those comments because I think they encapsulate the 2 points of view very well. So in camp number 1, we have Bibsy, the amazing, awesome Bibsy, who's been with us since God knows when, forever. We love us some Bibsy. But he says, there was really no need for a visual spoiler at any time. There's no alert for this. In the age of on-demand TV, it should be the very minimum of 48 hours. But even then, a visual spoiler for the end of the mid-season finale, clearly the work of a moron. Still very grateful to Brad, me, I guess, for pointing this out before he got onto Facebook and got spoiled by this image. I guess he saw my post. So, no problem, Bibsy. I'm glad my experience could maybe save your virginal innocence in regards to The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it exists anymore, but okay.
And in the other camp, we have a good friend of ours here in Tucson. He's one of our Jim and I's movie buddies, Felipe, who says, I might be in the minority here, but as a self-professed fanboy of many genres, I feel in today's app-filled, need-to-know, all-now tech world, it is and should be buyer beware. In the case of The Walking Dead, knowing that its popularity breeds many ways and forums the show can be spoiled for me, I simply stay offline on Sundays. We should assume the responsibility of our feeds and pages. Simplest form of spoiler prevention in my book. So on one hand, we've got, maybe there should be a set time frame before we're giving these kinds of spoilers. In the other camp, we've got, you know what? It's the internet. There's going to be spoilers. It's up to you to avoid it. Where do you guys come down on this?
I think there should be a set time thing. It's just as a courtesy to other people. There's, not everyone can watch it Sunday night. Some people have to wait until Monday. Some people have to, wait until Tuesday sometimes. But at that point, if I'm waiting till Tuesday and I get spoiled, I forgive it if something comes up on Monday. If I really don't want to be spoiled, I make an effort to watch it that night. Maybe not when it airs, but that night. I think maybe not 48 hours, but at least 24 hours, at least the next day. It's just as a common courtesy to your friends and everything who maybe can't watch it right away. Not everyone is on your time schedule. And I think the biggest problem with this snafu is that they spoiled it before you even had a possibility of watching it.
Right.
So it was you couldn't have watched it if you were on the West Coast unless you're getting the East Coast feed.
Right.
But people like me, I couldn't. I had to wait till 9 p.m. to start watching it, and they put it up at first at 7 p.m. and then people were resharing it, like you said. So that's just not fair. And I know people can text like, "Oh my God, I can't believe Beth is gone," but like people kind of said, you'd have to read that. And so if you're seeing a friend and you're seeing text, in your brain can go, "Oh, I'm gonna stop reading because I don't want to know." But with the visual one, you can't get that image out of your head.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fair point, right? Because in a text post, and I do this myself, you can say like spoiler warning and then put like hyphens down like 12 lines, right?
Which is what I do.
Yeah, that way whatever you post isn't immediately visible, right, in the snippet on Facebook.
And usually you have to see more to see what you've posted.
Right. And you can't do that with an image. Casey, where do you fall down on this?
I can see both camps. I think in this particular case, it's not the same. My general feeling about spoilers is that if you know that it's going to be a major event like a mid-season finale or a finale or a series finale, I think that living in an on-demand world has spoiled a lot of people so that they think event TV doesn't really exist anymore. Like Who Shot JR? You had to watch that. That was not rerun. You could not record it. I mean, you could if you had money to have a VCR at that time. But, yeah, that didn't exist. And I kind of wish that people would actually treat it more like an event now, so we didn't have to worry about this shit. Like, you know, it's like, if you know it's a major mid-season finale of a major show where characters are always at risk of dying, unless you're working or there's something else that's, like, major, you should be watching. Like, that doesn't apply to every case. Like, this case is very different, where this happens right after the East Coast airing, which means there's there's a huge space of time that you need to. They should have at least waited that time. They should have at least waited 6 hours or something. Yeah. So it was 2 hours after the West Coast feed. But in general, I mean, I think you need to kind of make appointment TV for finales, honestly. But you know, I know I'm not in the majority in that opinion. I just, you know, if I know something major is happening on TV, it's an appointment. It's on my calendar. Leave me alone. Like, I'm gonna watch this. This is major because I know something major is gonna happen. I know there's a potential of spoilers, and I know I want to be able to talk about it immediately after it happens with somebody. Which, unfortunately, I know I'm in the minority because I rarely get to talk about any show with anybody right after it airs because everyone waits to watch it. Which,
right.
Sorry, I'm tired of it. It's like, you know,
age of the DVR, right?
Yeah, it's just like, seriously, people, watch it. It's happening now. It's major. Someone's gonna die. Watch it. Like, you know, why would you not unless you're working?
Right.
It makes no sense to me. But in this case, it does infuriate me, and I was really mad when you posted it because last night I watched it, and then I watched the comeback, and then I came downstairs to check Facebook. It was like 10:30, and you had just posted. It said just now Brad posted. I was like, it's 10:30. What do you mean? Someone's already spoiled it. It hasn't even aired there yet. Like, what the hell? Well, I just drove me crazy. That drove me crazy.
For me, it's like I typically feel like there should be a time frame as well. You know, at least until it's done airing, a couple hours after it's done airing. Right. The problem is that with so many time zones, right? Yeah. If you wait until it's aired everywhere, it's going to be a couple days later. Right. Because we have an international dateline, right?
Right.
So I understand the need and desire to want to talk about it sort of in real time. It's water cooler talk. You want to be able to, you know, talk about it the next day at work or whatnot. But at the same time, you know, I mean, I will try to avoid the internet if I can. But typically, the page for the show isn't spoiling, you know, on its own.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I think
the network knows better at this point.
Yeah. I think it's a big snafu on AMC's part. Yeah. You know, in terms of friends and family, you know, I would just hope, you know what I mean, that you're sort of cognizant that not everyone's seen it yet. Right. But I don't think you can expect everyone to be super careful. Does it maybe make you a dick if you spoil? Yes. Inadvertently, maybe.
Yeah. People unfriend people over this stuff. Yeah. People get huge arguments over this stuff, and it's just like, I can see both sides of it, but for me, I never have that problem because I'm watching it when it's on because it's an important event to me. Right. So, you know, I avoid that whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's unfortunate that so many people got spoiled.
Yeah.
If you look on the the original post was pulled, the picture that AMC posted.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was reading comments on that picture, and like 10 minutes after it was posted, it had something like 300,000 comments on it. And most everyone is like screaming at AMC. But other people are like, you know, no, you guys are the ones that are stupid, you know what I mean? You shouldn't be on the internet and da 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 da. So
I totally disagree with that comment. You could be on the internet for a multitude of different reasons. Somebody could have messaged you. Somebody could have, you know, like there's Facebook isn't just for your stream of stuff, and a lot of times you're not actively liking something. You just put in your somewhere that you like the show, and it doesn't mean you wanted to follow it, but because you like the show, it shows up in your feed, or somebody comments on it, or like you said, because of Facebook's algorithm, somebody else liked the image, and it shows up in your feed because you don't even follow it, but somebody liked it. Right, you know, so it's not. I think that's a totally bogus argument to say that, you know, stay off the internet. It's like, come on, you know, there's a million reasons why.
Well, I guess the argument is like, if you have time to be on the internet, you have time to watch the show. So like,
No, not
why are you watching
necessarily.
this? No, exactly. That's the argument that I've heard people say. It's just like
right.
it's not the same thing, especially if there's the time difference where someone's on the internet and it's 10 o'clock here and it's 7 o'clock on the West Coast, and they post that at 10 o'clock after the show. It's like, well, I'm just doing my thing on the internet because I'm supposed to have 2 hours to go until I'm
Exactly.
Exactly.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I was just doing my typical, like, I'm bored just sitting here, you know, killing time. We were watching the Fast and the Furious movies yesterday. We watched a couple of them. 'Cause yesterday was the anniversary of Paul Walker passing away.
Oh gosh, really?
So we were kind of it's been a year already.
I can't believe that.
Yep. So
spoiler. No.
I know. Excuse me. You didn't tell me he was dead. Now I can't watch any of those movies.
Sorry. Jeez. But anyway, so you know, we were watching those movies, and I just instinctively pulled out my phone and Facebook, and bam, there it was. But anyway. Well, okay. Well,
and I think the flip side of the argument. Sorry, just one more point. The flip side of the argument is, you know, if to people saying, "Hey, stay off the internet if you don't want to do stuff." How about this? Just don't post it. Just wait. Why can't that person who says stay off the internet just wait a couple hours to post something, or post, "Hey, did anyone see tonight's episode? I want to discuss it." And discuss it in the comments of that, so if you're going to read the comments, you know what they're discussing. Or message me one-on-one. I want to talk with somebody about this, you know. But don't just sit there and go like, "Oh my God, Beth's dead."
Right, exactly. Like, "Oh my God, Beth died," and the details of how it happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a hard line to walk. You know, it's the digital.
You could just avoid the whole mess and just don't post about it. Just message. If you know someone who's watching at the same time as you, just talk to them about it.
Yeah.
You know what I like to do is I'm part of several groups on Facebook and also some forums online.
Yeah.
Where
that's a good way to go.
Spoilers are okay. So when I want to talk about stuff, especially like with Survivor, right? You can just go to those groups, and there's tons of people that you can talk about it with, and that's a good way to do it. But then again, you're not talking about it with your friends, so it's a little different. Right. But anyway, how do you guys feel about talking about the actual episode that we
we should do that.
I mean, I'm still kind of recovering. Like, I didn't sleep very well last night. I was really upset. It wasn't like Andrea dying or Herschel or anything. Like, this character was making a turn, and I feel like we weren't done with her, and I really don't feel like we were done with her adversary either. I feel like there were so many unanswered questions there, and I feel like that whole relationship wasn't fleshed out exactly how I wanted it to be before it ended.
Yeah.
Well, she did it to herself, though. She attacked her with a pair of scissors while she's holding a gun. What do you expect? Like.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was one of those things. I wasn't too sad to see her go. She wasn't my favorite character.
No.
I do feel like, she was probably taken a little early and sort of unceremoniously. It seemed like an accident, instead of an intentional act. Because you look on her face as soon as it happened, the cop's face, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry."
Right.
And then she gets blown away. But at the same time, I kind of felt her character was a little whiny and. Not whiny, but just sort of like ditzy or something, and I just didn't think she brought a lot to the table. I
thought she was way better than she used to be.
I agree. No, I think she's definitely kind of stepped it up this season, but I kind of feel like that was almost foreshadowing for her getting killed. It's like anybody who steps up and is, like, I'm going to make a change, I'm going to do right by this world, boom, dead.
Right.
I thought it was especially cruel, though. Like, this show loves to... It doesn't like to have... It just likes to be really cruel when it comes to the possibility of reunions with people, or, someone dying without having a last thing with the person they love. Like, when Rick wasn't there, when his wife died and had to be shot, like, that was so cruel and so rough going. And it's like, I get it, it's a cruel world, and it's supposed to be like, this is what would happen if this was zombie apocalypse. It's just like, can't you throw us a bone, like a little bone, like, I don't know, couldn't she have seen Maggie one last time or something?
Oh, you know what? I gotta tell you though, Maggie hasn't really cared this whole freaking season.
I totally agree.
True. She hasn't brought her up.
I totally agree. I was thinking the same thing. Like, Maggie has given two shits about her sister. She was off, like going to. She was going to go to Washington, and like it wasn't until like. Beth's alive that she was just like, oh yeah, that's right, I have a sister.
I have a sister, right? That's true. That's true. But I thought it was cruel for them to even bring that up to her.
Yeah. Well, it didn't make any sense to me when Glenn and Maggie were like, oh yeah, let's go to DC when Beth is still out there.
Yeah, why wouldn't her number one priority be, I need to find my sister?
Exactly.
Right. That was a writing issue.
Yeah. Herschel's dead and gone, right? Beth is all Maggie has left aside from Glenn as her family. So it's kind of like, that didn't make sense in the first place. And then, they're going cross country. Does Beth really come up? No, not really, because it's not convenient to the plot, right? But now, all of a sudden, we're back, and let's have a breakdown. Like, where was your care about your sister all this half season?
Well, I wonder if she was just kind of resigned to the fact that she's probably dead.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I'm not even going to have any hope because, she's probably dead. And
even Daryl didn't give two shits about her until, like, he saw that car and they introduced that whole plot line. I mean, she disappeared, like, the middle of last season, and then it was like, oh, well, da-da-da-da.
Right. And I thought maybe she went off to go, like, be in a movie or something, but I didn't see her in anything. So it was just like, I don't know what's going on here, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So, anyway, sorry, Maggie. Your sister's dead.
But I was really impressed by the, plot line as a whole, that they're, for how many episodes has this season been? Like 8 or something like that? 8?
Yeah, I think so.
They have done so many twists and turns within the 8 episodes. I mean, they introduced the whole, cannibal line, then killed that off, and then they introduced this whole, hospital line, and they're sort of nipping that in the bud. They're really moving this season along instead of like lingering on stuff and drawing it out.
Right.
Which is nice. That's sort of atypical for this show, right? A lot has, things have happened. I don't know if I would say a lot has happened, but there's been some momentum. Although I will say, we keep ending up like back where we kind of started, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look, we're back at the church again, and oh, look, we're back at the school again, and does the preacher storyline really serve anything?
I hate the preacher storyline so much. I want to so bad. He's the worst character, and why the hell did he, have to leave and go to the school to see stuff for himself? And then he comes back, and why the hell would they undo the barricade to try and let him in and ruin the one sanctuary they have when they have a baby? I mean, they are putting the baby at risk for some a-hole that they barely know who escaped on his own and brought the horde to them.
That's true.
But
tell us how you really feel, Steve.
It gave us an excuse. It gave us an excuse to have Michonne at least being badass for
I
us.
agree. Yeah. At least she wielded her sword, and she was wielding it a little bit too willy-nilly around other people. By the way, she was like coming kind of close to some.
Hey,
people.
she's a pro. She's one of those people who can like karate kick you to the face, but get like that close. She's one of those people. She's a master.
If she had lopped off Carl's head, I totally would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
No, I would have been bummed. I like
Carl's been actually nice and quiet this season.
And Carl has improved, I mean, he was going through his teen angst period. He hasn't really gone through that this season.
His teen angst eating pudding out of a can period?
Yeah. Hey, small victories, man. That seems like a great victory to me.
Oh, gosh.
But, I don't know. I think I'm not particularly enamored of the priest storyline, but it's interesting because you finally have this concept of religion brought into it again, and where you're kind of wondering what the hell is going on here, and he has these crises of faith, which I don't really find that interesting because the character is really pretty one note. I mean, he's always just on the edge and refuses to lift a finger. And I would really like someone who... What was that movie? Was it in Dead Alive? Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, where it was like, I kick ass for the Lord. It was a preacher who like kicked zombie ass. I think it was in Dead Alive.
Okay.
Yeah, if any of the viewers have seen that, then you know what I'm talking about.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't know. That whole thing, I don't really care for.
Where do you think they're going with? Did you guys watch till the very end with the
I did.
guy?
Yeah.
Did. So Morgan, right, is
Morgan,
back.
yeah.
Apparently he's caught up with them semi, right? I mean, he's at the church.
Right.
So does he play a big role in the comics, Brad? Do you know?
You know, he does to some degree. I don't want to spoil.
Right.
You know, I mean, the TV show and the comics have pretty much diverged at this point in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But still, you know, he's a character that's in both, so I really hesitate to say much.
I
will
like
say,
that.
do you? You like
I
that?
do.
Yeah.
I like that it diverges from the comic books because I don't like watching it. Like, for example, watching Game of Thrones with someone who's read the books is frustrating because then they'll be like, "Oh, I knew they were going to do it. I just didn't know they were going to do it then." I was just like,
Yeah.
Or
it was better when the way they did it in the books.
Yeah, I'm just like, shut up. So, like, with
Right.
this, the way it is now, like, my brother, who's read The Walking Dead, I think up to the recent issue, did not see last night coming, so he was really shocked.
Right.
It's like, you want that. You want people who are know-it-alls based on the previous material to still be surprised. You have to be able to surprise both parties.
Absolutely.
That's a good.
Game of Thrones doesn't really do that.
That's a good point. I mean, was that whole hospital setting in the comics all? Did Beth get killed?
Yeah.
It's all different. I mean, like, it's all different. Yeah. Yeah, it's very different, and I appreciate that because I'm current in the comic books, and I sort of see them as like parallel universes where things are happening differently, and
which is
I'm
good.
totally fine with that. Real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to another friend that's listening in tonight. Her name is Susie. She's actually Felipe's fiance, and they're Walking Dead fans. They're both watching right now. So
congratulations,
Susie and Felipe. Congrats.
So Susie is our Goldilocks this evening.
She is our Goldilocks. She's hanging out with the bears tonight, Susie. So
that's great.
Good to have you listening.
So, quick little tidbit, and this is sort of a follow-up to something Casey brought up an episode or so ago. When I watched The Talking Dead, somebody asked the question about Daryl's sexuality, and he said that they've sort of played him asexual on purpose, but at one point he did toy with the idea of making Daryl gay, and even posted it like in some comment thing or in the books or something, and people kind of he said there was a furor over it, and I can't tell if he was saying like good or bad, but he said ultimately Daryl is straight. But he said it wasn't. He's like, I would have been fine making that character gay, and the network was actually fine. I talked to them, about it, and they were kind of cool with it. But ultimately, he sort of leaned toward the straight side. But he said that in the next half of the season, a prominent gay character from the books, the comic books, is going to be coming in to the show. So
I was like, I just assumed that all the gay men were killed. I assumed that apparently every gay man subscribes to every stereotype in the Walking Dead universe, and so just ran like girls and got killed.
I would. Yeah. I don't know.
Because even the lesbian doesn't get any action, and she doesn't really even reference herself being a lesbian that much.
Well, here's the thing. There are plenty of gay characters in the comics. But we've had one, right? Hypo in the background.
Oh, I've seen two cats here. I should call my puppy in to make it.
We saw Steven's dog a few moments ago.
That's what it was. It was Steven's dog. I should call
Steven's dog.
She's under my feet right now, chewing on a bone.
Is she? Aw. Yeah. But yeah, so we don't really have many gay characters on the show at all, right? We have the lesbian chick. Have we had anybody else really?
I think the doctor in. I think the doctor in what was it? The governor's town. I'm pretty sure he was a flamer. Yeah, he was a total flamer.
Yeah,
he was the second.
It was never said directly, but I was like, this guy is a total queen.
Yeah. He was totally the second coming of John Ritter.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yes, that guy. Yes.
If they make a biopic film about John Ritter, he should play John Ritter.
Yeah.
And that was the guy who ended up killing Andrea, right? Or biting Andrea.
No. Was it?
I think he was locked in a room with her. I thought. What spoiler?
Yes.
that was 2 seasons ago.
I think it's been more than 48 hours.
Yeah, that's been more than 365 days. It's that way.
Hey, so we have another comment from Felipe because he's awesome. I guess on Talking Dead last night, the writer that was on the show did say a gay character is coming to the show.
Yes.
Definitively. So that would be.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman mentioned that.
Yeah, that would be really interesting to see sort of how they handle that. We've had lots of sort of straight relationships.
Yeah.
I wonder how they would sort of handle that. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Will be interesting to see. If Robert Kirkman played for our team, I'd be okay with that.
I know, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only reason I watched the entire episode of The Talking Dead is because he was on it the whole time.
Yeah. If the comeback wasn't on, I would have watched, but
Oh yeah.
sorry, comeback takes precedent.
Yeah.
So where are we going then for the last half of the season? Right, comes back in February.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going from here? Really, we still have the saviors. The hospital people are still sort of around, right? Rick's group is off again. Where's it headed? Where should it head? What are your thoughts?
I think they need to find refuge again. I mean, they can't just be wandering the streets.
Well, there's too many of them to be doing that.
Yeah.
They'll have to all pile into that fire engine and drive around. But something's got to happen with that farm of zombies because they kept going back to that during the episodes where they were all stranded, and so that I think that's there for a reason. So I think that they're going to head back in that direction. I don't know. I think I kind of like the sense of free falling that the season is in now. Because that was kind of they gave the little snippets of when we come back of what to expect, and they're all kind of like, well, we need to find shelter. We need to go to this place, and they're all, it's all just like the scramble of what to do.
Yeah.
So a note on the gay thing real quick. My loving partner, Jim, from the Movie Rares podcast, posted and said, well, I'm sure that plenty of the zombies were gay, LOL.
Well, yeah, because they can't run because they're sissies, apparently, and they have
they
table
only eat male flesh?
Yeah, they only ate men. Any of the zombies that went after Daryl or Rick.
They're all like, balls.
Right, exactly. They really want that.
Oh, goodness. Let's protect our family rating. We won't take it any further.
Well, something else that I liked last night was that, because, I think it was last mid-season finale was when Daryl was killed, right? Or not Daryl.
Daryl got killed.
No, Herschel was last mid-season finale.
Rick.
And then it all ended in like this big, that was the catalyst for this big, huge gunfight between the two sides. And I'm really glad that did not happen in that episode.
Yeah.
Because both sides knew that it wasn't going to help either group. Mm-hmm. Both sides were at their complete wit's end for various different reasons.
I really liked that they were like, it's over, no more bloodshed needs to happen, and they all kind of
it was a fair trade, so to speak.
Yeah.
It was 1 for 1. So
absolutely.
But it was a mess. I was on the verge of tears. It was rough.
Well, guys, any parting thoughts on The Walking Dead before we move on?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But it's been so good this season so far.
Really has.
What a turnaround.
I'm undecided.
Oh wow.
Really?
I don't know. I'm big on. I like character development. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes it just gets a little stale for me. Like there's just so much sitting around and talking. I am glad there is more action this season. That's nice. I will say I really like the change up of environments.
Mm-hmm.
I like them being in Atlanta. I like seeing the city. Like there's that shot of like the parking lot or whatever, and the burned out buildings and stuff behind them. Yeah. And that's totally like apocalyptic. I love that. I would love to see like urban jungle warfare with zombies through the streets, like based in Atlanta for a whole season or something, or some others. I mean, I don't care. Some other cities, something. Yeah. I'm kind of played out with like, oh look, here's a forest, and oh, here's a road, and now we're running through the forest, and now we're on
I
the
just
road.
want another state. Like,
I mean, that's
just,
the thing.
you know,
Have you been to the South lately? Like, that's what it is. I mean,
Well-
it is like that. There are little pockets here and there, but that's what it's like.
That's true.
So they have to get the hell out of Georgia if they had to go further up north or further south to Florida, where
they should get to like
swamp zombies might be interesting actually,
or like
Swamp
South
Beach.
Beach. What's South Beach like? Miami.
Oh God! Oh, there are the real gay zombies are in South Beach.
Yeah, it's like
They
zombies with bikinis.
They should totally do like an OC zombie.
Oh, God. I do like the idea of going to like the Okefenokee though.
Oh, that would be cool.
And having swamp zombies. That sounds intriguing to me. But I don't know. I'm never. I like the action sequences in the show, but it's not. It's not something that I need every episode. Like, I wouldn't mind like a bottle episode. Like, I don't mind that. It doesn't need to have an action sequence with them fighting off zombies every episode. As long as there's something going on with the characters, I don't mind. And so with this season, I really didn't feel like there were any major slow spots that I really hated. Like, I liked pretty much all of it from start to finish.
Yeah.
So, last parting question for you, again from Felipe. Did Daryl crying get anyone emotional?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. He really, like, seeing him hurt so bad was, like, I felt more for him, than I did for Beth.
Right. Well, I think also I think it was also personal for him because it was like a failing. Like, she was taken on his watch, basically, and it was up to him to get her back, and it failed, and so I think it wasn't just we lost a member of the family. It was like I failed at getting both of my women back.
Yeah,
right.
Both my girls back. So.
Meanwhile, Carol's in the background going, "Yay, he's all
no! Oh my God! And Carol maybe tear up too. Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God. Well, she saved Carol's life, so
she did.
She did.
Yeah. Definitely. It is interesting seeing Daryl vulnerable. He's usually so strong and smoking a cigarette and badass, and to see him sort of break down like that was definitely powerful. I agree.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we do have other things to talk about besides The Walking Dead. Are you guys ready to move on?
Sure.
All right. So we are officially segueing out of Zombie Town and into a little MeTV segment of the show where we sort of catch up on other shows that we have been watching lately. We will not be spoiling plots of these shows. We'll just be kind of talking about what we're watching and why. So Stephen, why don't you kick us off? What are you watching lately?
Sure. One of the first things I'll talk about is something that sort of riffs off of I think one of Casey's MeTVs from last time, MST3K, and it's sort of the modern version of MST3K, which is The People's Couch.
What? Ooh,
I know.
I'm intrigued.
I know. So, on paper, I was refusing to watch The People's Couch because it is a show of people sitting on a couch watching TV. So it's real people and their reactions to TV shows, and I'm thinking you're literally going to be sitting on the couch watching people sitting on the couch watching TV. That is stupid. But the reason why I brought up the MST3K is it just sort of dawned on me the last couple times I watched it. Number one, it's totally fun. They basically, they don't show a whole episode of something. It's like 5 minutes. They condense a whole show, like an hour-long show, into like 5 minutes. And they cut between like 5 different families, and it's always the same families every episode. So you get to know them, and you kind of look for their specific reactions of specific people. And then they, within an hour show, they'll cut to different shows that they'll watch, and they'll go all over the board. They'll watch The Walking Dead, they'll watch Survivor, they'll watch a Real Housewives show, they'll watch some random reality show, and it's just watching these people react to it. But it's like MST3K, they're making jokes about what's happening on screen. They're doing, somebody will do a funny voice. It's like you with your friends joking about a TV show that you're watching, and they can be really funny. There's also lots of little moments in between where they're just like like, hey, pass me the popcorn. You don't need any popcorn. You've gained too much weight. Like, and they're just joking with each other, and so it's I really actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I would, and I think they just had the season finale lately, but I'm sure Bravos were playing the crap out of them, but. It's actually a really kind of fun show, and I actually recommend it. It's also a little bit like The Soup in the sense that one of the things that I enjoy about The Soup is discovering shows and not having to watch shows, but discovering weird random shows that you've never even heard of. And it'll be like that. Like, they'll watch some episode of a show I've never heard of, and you at least get a taste of the show without having to watch it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun. Should check that out.
I recommend it.
Sweet. How about you, Casey? What are you watching?
What am I watching? I've been really watching a lot of Key and Peele lately.
Oh, great.
On Comedy Central, which is great. It's these two comedians that kind of became Jordan Peele, and then it's Keegan. I forget what the guy's first name is. I just call him Keegan.
Yeah.
But it's Key and Peele. First names are, it's like Abbott and Costello or Laurel and Hardy. Like, at this point, they're really that good. Like, they're a really good team. They started on Mad TV. Does anyone remember Mad TV?
Yeah, I love Mad TV.
I love Mad TV. And they did really, really good impersonations of celebrities, which is something SNL has really sucked at for like the last 20 years. They have not been great. But it's a really good show. It's just a sketch show, and it kind of is similar to like a Chappelle show kind of thing. But it tackles different things, and the guys play different characters. And it's so funny. It's really good. I think it's on the 3rd or 4th season now, and I didn't know it had been on that long until I was watching it on demand. I saw, oh wait, it says it's season 4. How's that possible? Like, that's a long time. It's time's flown by. But it's really good and really funny, and I think it's on where is it? I have it written down. Wednesday nights, Comedy Central at 10:30.
Nice.
And I think it's still ongoing. The season's not done yet. So
okay,
very cool.
Very good show.
Well, let's see. For me, we just had Thanksgiving, and of course, the day after Thanksgiving is a big day for some football games. So I'm going to butch it up a little bit.
Whoa.
Some football. Yeah. I unfortunately had to work, and so I was not able to go to the University of Arizona / Arizona State University rivalry game here in Tucson. And so that was a bummer not to be able to go with Jim, but he went, and we had some friends there. It was a phenomenal game. But I had my MacBook set up next to my work computer. I had the game on in the background, and so I was just kind of watching when I could. But so I have to say our Wildcats won. Got a victory out. We actually won the championship here in the Pac-12 South Division. Nice. So this coming weekend we'll be watching again Friday night with Felipe and Susie as the Wildcats take on the North Championship winners, Oregon, who we beat earlier this season. So I'm hoping we take them again. No, I don't watch because it's hot guys in tight pants. But I mean, that's a bonus.
It is a bonus.
But it's a bonus when they got junk in the trunk. Other than that, sometimes it's super disappointing when But
it can be.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting because I actually used to really hate football.
I
think it's because they were always trying to get me to play in high school. Yeah. And I was more interested in reading books. And believe it or not, now I wish I kind of had played. I wish I had gotten that experience. I think it would have been fun. Yeah. But Jim got me into the game when we started dating, and he brought me along to some games. And so now I really love college football. So anyway, it's exciting for me. It's on TV. It's good times. So there you go. Which time over? Do you guys watch football at all? Not really?
Not at all.
No. I watched the Super Bowl for the commercials. I take notes.
Yeah,
which companies are shelling out money for ad time. Yeah.
Like you guys
will happen. No, it's I mean, it's funny because what is it? What are the gay Super Bowl is supposed to be? What, the Oscars or the Tonys?
The Tonys, I think.
Yeah, I don't even watch the Tonys, so I don't even watch the gay Super Bowl.
Oh, good Good gracious.
Yeah.
Good grief. Sally Draper. All right, Steven. Bring us up again. What do you got?
The next one I'll probably bring up is I'm in the middle right now of Homeland season 4.
Is that good?
Yeah, it is really good. Season 3
good.
blew.
Yeah, it was terrible. I stopped watching.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I don't blame
Yeah.
them. I really don't. But season
Yeah.
4 has been really, really good. They've done a lot of twists and turns. It's a couple of times I've thought, oh god, it's gonna go this way. Oh my god, it didn't go that way, and it went horribly wrong. Oh my god,
Wow.
This last episode left on this cliffhanger that is just like, what the fuck just happened? My language, all the things that go out there, but it really was like we seriously had to like rewind it. Like, did we just see what we just saw? And then it's just, I cannot wait for the next episode. Like, I want it now.
Wow. That's a rarity. There really aren't that many shows I can say that about.
I know.
I want the next episode immediately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's definitely. I almost wish I had binge watched this season because there's so many times where it just ends on a cliffhanger that you're like, I have no idea where they're going.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's been really good compared to last season where it was like, such is being held up on a building. You're like,
and the stupid fucking daughter. I was just like, enough of this. I'm not watching this anymore. Yeah.
Is Homeland the one with Mandy Patinkin?
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Really.
And he's always really good on that show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember because we go to the movies a lot, and they kept like Cinemark has this whole like join us for first look, and they give you like preview shit on TV.
Right.
But anyway, one of them I think was for Homeland because Mandy Patinkin is like, we're not fighting a war for 15 years. We're fighting 15 wars for one or something. I don't know. And I was really confused about what he was talking about, what was going on. But I do like Mandy Patinkin quite a bit. Is he like a regular on the series, or is he?
He is. He plays he leads up to the CIA director in the previous season. Then in this season, he plays a different role. Well, the same person, but his role changes in this season, and he plays a very pivotal story point roles in this season. And there are a couple scenes with him that seriously had me and my husband Sean just like, like almost like verbally screaming because it was so tense. It's been really good.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to start watching this.
Yeah.
Again, because the first 2 seasons I was really on board with, but
I think they kind of have gotten back to form. I think they learned their lesson from season 3.
Good, because that was
yeah.
Sweet. All right, Casey, how about you?
What else am I watching? I watch so much. I'm still watching Shark Tank on a regular basis.
Great!
I still love the hell out of that show. It's so
a great
good.
Show.
It's so good, and they recently started re-airing episodes on. It's either CNBC or MSNBC. It's one of those, and it's like they have marathons of this show, and it's become like the new SVU, where like I will watch hours and hours of this show.
Nice.
And it's a little more palatable than watching hours and hours of women being raped and children being killed. It's more
just a little more palatable.
It's a little more palatable. It's super addictive. It's just great. I really love it, and it really gets you thinking about like, how incredible people are, that they have to think of ways to solve certain problems, or have to be, they have entrepreneurial spirit, and so they want to create something, want to create a business and make their mark some way. And there are some really terrible products on Shark Tank that somehow get funding, and sometimes there are great products that get no funding because everyone's just like, I don't know.
You're too much of a newbie, and I don't want to,
and it's like I don't see this selling to a bunch of people. Like there was one episode I watched where there were these people, these guys had like a food truck in L.A. of Maryland crab rolls, and they wanted funding to buy a second truck in L.A. Only L.A. And I was like, why are you why are these sharks even thinking about this? It's one business in one city where they pull plenty of other people. Well, we can't invest because I don't see it going to Middle America. It's like I don't see Maryland crab roll trucks going out in the hundreds to Middle America either. But they went nuts for the stupid crab roll, and sometimes it's frustrating, and sometimes it's sometimes it's like it's great because they get into arguments and start start fetching and stuff.
I've started to hate the Mr. Wonderful guy.
Like, Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes he's just a dick to be a dick because he's sort of like the Simon Cowell of that show. Where he'll just do it to be a dick, and because that's his character. But I love Mark Cuban on the show, and I think he's hot.
Yeah. I don't think he's all that hot, but I like his voice. Like I like what he has to say a lot of times, and I think he's encouraging yet stern. He's like, this makes good business sense or this doesn't, but he's also like, here's what you need to do, and here's what what I would advise you to do. He's not there to just be like, this sucks, go away.
Right.
So he's good. So I watched it. So it's on Friday nights, ABC at 9. Yeah, and apparently it's being rerun all over the place, so you can see it just about any time of the day now.
Nice.
It literally has become the SVU of reality shows. It's something perfect because each episode is self-contained, and it's not hateful like Hell's Kitchen, which is difficult to watch.
Yeah.
And you might learn about a product that is now hit the market.
Yeah, this is a good time to watch because if you want to buy like Christmas gifts for people, just look for some businesses that you like on Shark Tank. See if they have a website and order something from them. It's good for like small business Christmas gifts.
If it doesn't come Amazon Prime, I'm not interested. Sorry.
That is, that's a major stipulation for me for my Christmas shopping this year. Yeah, I need that. But
if you're going to put something on your Christmas list, it better be Amazon Prime. Jim, if you're watching. Well, Casey, speaking of the East Coast, another show that I have been watching with Jim lately is an HBO show called Olive Kitteridge. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this.
That's supposed to be great. Yeah, it's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, so there's only 4 episodes. It's like a mini-series. Each episode is like 58 minutes long or something. But Frances McDormand plays the main character, title character, Olive Kitteridge. And Richard Jenkins from 6 Feet Under, who I also really like, plays her husband, Henry, in the show. John Gallagher Jr. from The Newsroom, Stephen, plays their son. Nice. In 3 of the episodes. And anyway, so the series, the basic premise is about this older woman and her husband. They're aging. It kind of follows them over the course of like 20 years or something. And they are like in Maine. You see all these really cool places that actually are not all Maine. A lot of it's filmed in Massachusetts. In fact, it's interesting because watching it with Jim, there's all these places that he knows that he has been to, and he's like, "Oh my God, I know that place, and I've been on that road." And it's funny. There's like a restaurant, and the exterior is in one state, but the interior is like this other restaurant in Massachusetts, and But anyway, it's we talk about character development and gripping character drama. This series has got it in spades. I think we all have lists of things that we're watching and trying to catch up on. But I would totally recommend like moving this to the top of your list. It's some of the best TV I've seen in a really, really long time.
Wow.
It is kind of dark, but it's just a phenomenal miniseries. It's all available on HBO Go right now, all 4 episodes, and it's good times. So
okay,
that's definitely on my list. I definitely need to watch that show.
Yeah.
It's totes my goats worth it, Casey Scott, I promise.
Awesome. So. Well, I do love Frances McDormand and Richard Jenkins.
They are great.
Yeah. And it's got great write-ups everywhere.
Last round.
Bringing it home. Yeah. The last show I'll probably talk about is a good old consistent one that we've talked about on the show before is Survivor.
Right.
We've made it to the merge of this season, and it's been a decent season. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's definitely been consistently good.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
I don't know. It's like a vacuum cleaner.
I hear heavy breathing. Is someone watching porn?
No. I don't hear anything.
We're looking at Casey.
No. I don't hear anything.
Oh,
Okay, it went away. We're
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
We're
I
good.
don't know what it was.
So
But
made
yeah,
it to the merge, Steven.
made it
It's
to the
not your
merge.
favorite season, though? Is
It's
that
not
what
my
you said?
favorite season. The characters aren't all that strong. You know, like there aren't too many divisive characters, and but there's some people that I've been getting behind. And one of the things I really kind of like about it is, you know, this is another blood versus water, so there's people with loved ones on there, and there was a gay couple. And at first I was really worried because they're both two theater queens, and you know, so I was like, oh god, is this going to be another, you know, stereotypical gay couple and or stereotyped gays? And for the most part, at times they're a little bit over the top, but I think for the most part they've actually really kind of broken some of those stereotypes, and you know, they do really well in challenges. They you know, they pull their weight at camp, you know, and they're not just saying they're not the Coltons, you know, like
Right.
you know, the hateable gays, you know.
Right. Are you caught up?
I am.
I am
Okay.
too. Are you, Casey?
Yes. I just.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I tried to be a little bit.
Yeah. No, I don't really like them anymore.
Oh yeah.
I think they kind of became, you know, power mad assholes.
I
You know?
agree.
Which happens after the merge, because then it's kind of like, okay,
But
then
at
you
the
really
same
start
time,
seeing people's nasty sides.
I kind of liked that they tried to take charge and didn't sit back and you know, let things happen.
Right.
But I also think they tried to make some bold moves, which was
Right.
That's true. That's
Well, the last one, without spoiling it, the last one was a major bold move, and I was actually pretty happy about it. I was like, wow, I can't believe they pulled that off. That's kind of amazing.
Well, it didn't pull off. I mean, that's the thing.
Well, you know who I really, really hate? I really, really hate John and Jacqueline.
Oh, totally agree.
I hate both of them, honestly.
I'm not Jacqueline's biggest fan either, but just every time that guy opens his mouth,
I just think he's young and stupid. He's only like 23, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he's also one of those really attractive people who is, you know, had everything handed to them. And I know because I'm one of those people too.
Oh, Casey, I see it written all over you.
It's so hard being one of the pretty people,
It's very hard being
right?
the pretty. Yeah, exactly. No, but it's just like, and then all of a sudden, so they merge, and then they're like the power couple. I'm just like, seriously, these people are the power couple? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't even call themselves the power couple.
I know.
Yeah,
John's
I'm
like,
seriously, you guys should all be working together to get rid of them because they're the power couple.
Right.
Well, the thing is, it's going to backfire on them. They've been so wishy-washy
Good,
this
I
whole
hope so.
season. It's going to backfire.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
They really have.
I want
Wednesday is 2 back-to-back episodes.
I know.
it's 2 hours.
That's 2 eliminations. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, not the best season, but still
No,
mildly
it's
interesting.
pretty good. Yeah, it's been better
I
than some.
Let's make some predictions. I'm predicting Natalie.
I would love
God, I
Natalie
hope
to win. I think she's a really strong female. I like her.
I'm trying to think of who else is still left that I actually would want to win.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter if I want them to win or not. Who do I think is going to win? Trying to think of who's left. Not Wes. Wes is just stupid.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't want Misty or her mom.
Oh, God.
I can't stand those bitches. Yeah. I don't want Misty or Baylor to win. I just can't stand either one of them.
Yeah. All right. Well, good call there, Steven. Yeah, definitely. All right. And Casey, what's your last show?
Oh, what is my last show? I'm between 2 of them. One is old and one is new.
Go for the old one.
Okay, thank you. You made the decision for me. Sometimes I need that. So I'm a fan of anthology television because when TV first started back in the 40s, early 50s, a lot of it was live, and a lot of it was made up of live dramas. So you'd have people from a lot of it was East Coast based too. So you'd have actors from the Broadway stage that eventually became filmed dramas. But anthology television is really something that died in I'd say the 70s or the 80s, with stuff like Police Story, and things like that. But I love the idea of a show that is just presenting each week a different story with different actors, a different director, doing something distinctive with its time slot every week. And so there's a really great show that I was watching called Playhouse 90 that is amazing. It was the first 90-minute show on television, and it's basically just like watching a Broadway play. And a lot of the episodes are on YouTube. Surviving episodes, because a lot of it was live and it wasn't preserved, so not every episode's available. But I've been watching two shows actually, Thriller and Night Gallery, which are two older horror anthology shows. And Thriller is not available anywhere except on DVD, so I would recommend that, but only if you have the money to buy it. But Night Gallery is on Hulu, and that one's hosted by Rod Serling. And I think most gays would know it because it's one of Joan Crawford's last good roles. And in the very first pilot episode, she was directed by Steven Spielberg before he was Steven Spielberg.
Oh, wow.
A really good episode called Eyes. And it's a really interesting show. It's early 70s, and 70s TV horror kind of has a cult following now. And not every episode of Night Gallery is successful, but it's interesting to see that a network would put something on in the 70s and have some of your favorite TV people like William Shatner, Terry Garr's in a few episodes, Diane Keaton's in a few episodes, playing different roles. And so each week it's totally something completely unexpected. And I think, Showtime tried to do that with Masters of Horror like 10 years ago, I think. It was a while ago. But it wasn't that successful. But I'd love to see an anthology series done again. Now that NBC's getting back on board with the whole live TV thing with Peter Pan and Sound of Music, I really love it if they did like a 13-episode sort of mini-series of weekly live broadcasts of plays or something.
Yeah.
Bring a little culture to the trashy to some trashy network. bring a little culture. But
awesome.
Yeah, so anthology TV. I guess I'm promoting Night Gallery, but honestly, Playhouse 90, Thriller, Night Gallery, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, any anthology show is generally a really good time. So
awesome. Very cool. All right. Well, last up for me, I've been kicking it old school too. I've been going all the way back to the 90s, and I started watching, believe it or not, Xena Warrior Princess.
Wow, what a camp classic. I love that show.
Right? I've been watching, because I've totally run, I like to watch stuff when I'm having breakfast and stuff in the morning before work. Right. But I don't want to put anything on that's too deep, because I only have like half an hour, right? Yeah. So I was looking through Netflix the other day, and bam, there was Xena. And I'm like, man, Xena, Gabrielle, and I used to have some really good times when I was a kid. But I never finished that series. I saw the first 3 seasons, I think, and it had 6. And I heard it got really, really, really terrible, as if it wasn't terrible enough already. By the series' end. But I still kind of want to check it out a little bit. So I've been going back. I've been watching. It's so freaking cheesy. Oh my god! But it's also fun. I love seeing Xena do her little yeah, throw her little chakram thing, and but it just reminded me a lot the Kevin Sorbo Hercules series was going on sort of at the same time. Xena was a spinoff. And it really reminds me a lot of He-Man and She-Ra from when I was a kid. Right. If you watch those shows at all, She-Ra spun off from He-Man, and they would do crossover episodes, and they just had a Xena episode where Hercules starred on her show, and then that was reminding me of Arrow and Flash.
Yeah, that's
starting. I'm going to segue into plugs.
There we go.
Because tomorrow, and we are officially in plugs. Tomorrow starts the 2-night event. You like how I did that? Was
that was very nice.
The 2-night event.
2-night event of a Flash Arrow crossover. So it all starts tomorrow night on The Flash, and then it wraps up Wednesday on Arrow.
I'm excited.
I know, Steven, you are totally current on both shows. The trailer for that thing, it looks really good. I hope to God, I hope it doesn't have any of those cheesy moments like we saw in the Flash premiere, where Arrow's cool, it's a dark, gritty, like it looks in the trailer. We'll see. I don't know.
I honestly hope that they keep the tone of each show. So on the Flash version of the crossover, maybe it'll be a little bit more cheesy and stuff like that. But on the Arrow version of the crossover, it's darker and a little bit more moody. I think that'd be interesting.
I think it will be cool to see like them in each other's universe, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would Arrow really be like on Flash? Because you're right. Tonally, they are very, very different. Flash is kind of light and bright, and oh yay, go!
Right.
And Arrow is very dark and gritty and in the shadows.
Yeah.
So I'm crazy interested to see how things go. Casey Scott, you are behind on Arrow.
I'm very behind on Arrow, and I've abandoned the Flash, so I'm not gonna watch that. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't give a shit about the Flash anymore. Well, I also just found out the same guy that created Mysteries of Laura, that absolute piece of garbage. On
really?
So yeah, this guy is no genius. I think Arrow is a total fluke, and I think the Flash. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but
way to dump all over my plug. Jeez.
No, you know it's funny because
remember that.
But I think they already did kind of a crossover. I remember seeing ads where like
they've done several.
Some chick, and I'm just like, can you like spread your wings and move away from Arrow for a little bit, like be your own show for a while? Like that's kind of like when it's kind of like a Brady Bunch Partridge Family crossover or something. It's just like let the Flash be the Flash for a little while, like you know. But we'll see how this crossover. We'll see how this crossover episodes go.
I'll just retract my plug now because
whatever. No, I mean I definitely think that Arrow still has potential. I've seen clips of this season, but not last season.
Yeah.
And,
anyway, I'm excited. I think it's going to be great. So
I am
check it out. Steven, what's your plug?
My plug is for the upcoming return of Looking. We reviewed that on the show, and we all I think generally liked it. And season 2 is coming pretty soon. I think it might be January. I can't remember the date. I probably should have known that, but
it's something in January.
But yeah, I'm excited for the return of that. I'll be interested to see kind of where they go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah. All right, Casey, what's your plug, or your 3 plugs, or 4 plugs? I never remember.
Well, I wanted to. Well, so like on the Flash now. Let me just ask you this, because this might entice me to start watching it again. Have they veered away from the whole romance between him and what's her face?
No, they've actually amped it up.
They have? Oh, God. Okay.
You're talking about Felicity or whatever?
Iris.
His Iris. His adopted sister.
Iris West.
Wait, Flash?
Yeah, Flash.
No.
He has a half-sister who's secretly dating the detective's partner.
Yeah.
I would say it's less romancy, but it's more. Okay. It's hard to quantify that.
Yeah.
It comes in and out. That was a major reason why I was just like, I don't like this.
Yeah. There's kind of a bit of that still.
There's a little bit of longing, but I wouldn't say there's a romance.
Yeah. It doesn't seem as like I was really afraid it was going to be like a 3-way love triangle thing, like last season.
Yeah.
But Steven, I mean, at least to me, it doesn't really seem as triangle-y as like a CW season typically.
Okay. No, she's sort of moved away from him, and he's kind of tried to keep that separate to keep her safe.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right.
Right. And some of the dumb shit she does gets her in some trouble. So I actually really like that. I'm like,
good. Okay.
Girl, you deserve what you get, you stupid girl.
That actually really helps to sell me on that, because I really... Yeah, I really don't like her. But
it's really up and down, Casey. I mean, I'm totally... I mean, I feel that with you. Like, Jim has been watching it with me, and some episodes, like, when they're over, I'm just like... let's watch something else. Right. And other episodes, I'm like, oh, that was cool.
What did you think of the Flash is Born episode?
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
There was a Born episode?
Well, it's how they kind of come up with the name, and that's the episode that my friend wrote. And we're at the screen with him.
Did I watch that?
No, it was just last week.
Oh,
yeah, I think you gave up on that one. But I did really like it. You were at like a viewing party with him, right?
Yeah, it was a viewing party with a bunch of friends that he had, and I got to talk to him. It was interesting to kind of get his perspective on the behind the scenes and everything, and even just sort of, I was saying tonally how it's different from the Arrow, and he was like, well, that's intentional. They were trying to go after a more family-friendly audience with The Flash, which totally makes sense. I mean, you can really tell.
Right. Absolutely.
It airs in an earlier time and everything. So.
But see, Arrow is the one I really need to catch up on. I'd be excited about this crossover. I was caught up on Arrow, I'm pretty sure. Because you guys have been consistent with Arrow, and I really don't have any excuse not to watch it.
Yeah.
Except there's so many great things on TV, right? You only have so much time.
That's the problem.
So,
well, what is
you
my
haven't
plug?
gotten to your plug, so what's your plug, Casey?
My plug is Bob's Burgers, which was airing at 7:30, so it was constantly preempted by football. But now, in a really actually hilarious turn of events, Fox has the show Mulaney, which is this terrible multi-camera sitcom. It's really not funny. And that was airing at 9:30, which is like primo time slot after Family Guy. They switched that with Bob's Burgers, so now Mulaney's at 7:30 and getting preempted all the time by football.
Nice.
And Bob's Burgers is on 9:30, and now The Walking Dead is over. Now you can watch Bob's Burgers at 9:30. And, you know, it's such a great show. It's really, really funny. The Thanksgiving episode that just aired was hilarious. I watched it 3 times.
Yeah.
It was great. And I just have one. Is that the picture behind you, Steven? That is the Partridge Family.
It is, yeah. It was signed by the artist who did the intro. Sean actually lived in Queens, where that artist lived, and they got to know each other, and so he signed.
Oh my God! Yeah. That's what I want for Christmas. Now, if you had one of the egg, that would be perfect too.
I know.
So take it off your wall. Take it off your wall right now, Steven.
Cross out Sean and write in Casey.
That is awesome. I just noticed that.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, guys. Well, that wraps us up for this week. We will be coming at you again in another couple weeks. Christmas is coming up. Aw, look at the dog.
Bye, everyone.
Christmas is coming up here in I don't know, 3 weeks or something. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Or is it 4 weeks? I don't even know.
It is 20 days. No, 23
the first,
days
so
from
25
now.
days from now.
25, okay, so like 3.5 weeks.
So 3.5 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to kind of see what we're doing. I don't know if we're going to do a Christmas-themed episode again like we did last year. How cool is it to be like, oh, we did this last year. What are we going to do this year?
Yeah.
It's 1 year.
I like that longevity, right?
Yeah. This is our second season.
That's right. That's right.
But we also need to do our Best of the Year episode.
That's very true.
I'm working very diligently on because I'm trying to catch up on stuff.
And probably we'll hit that one after the holidays. That way 2014 is in the books and we can really sort of sit down and, gosh, I need to get my head around that. I haven't even started. But yeah, so anyway, we will figure it out, guys, and we will see you all in a couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Night.
That's the thing I put at the end of every episode. I don't know if you ever listen to that.
I don't ever get to the end.
Anyway.
I think I don't get to the end either.
All right. Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye.